week 2 in the books. I was like, time for a little bit of this recap, and I'm gonna try to do it in a little bit of a speed run. Get out the way. Anyway, Bills and Raiders. Ain't nothing to say here. I was like, pretty much Josh Allen came back how we sort of thought he would. Back his horrible Monday night performance where he was just throwing interceptions all over the lot. He pretty much simplify that. I was like, they were back to their winning ways of being a. I was like, Josh Allen was still sort of aggressive, and he was still, but I'm like, but it was now it was concentrated on winning. The Raiders, they gave it a good effort, but pretty much it didn't really matter. I was like, Devontae Adams is just there doing work for a team that doesn't look like they're gonna. I know they beat the Broncos week 1, but it ain't nothing inspiring. Bills soak it all up. We'll see how it goes when they play. I guess like a better defense. Diggs always coming to hit the ball, dude aggressive. Tight ends crazy with Knox and Kincaid. I was like, then it was a tackle that was like 2 times bigger. Kincaid is crazy because I thought Kincaid was really anyway rambling, but win nonetheless. Buccaneers, Bears. Baker Mayfield is looking almost like basically looking like the Baker Mayfield we thought of when he was in Cleveland during a playoff run. That's how he sort of looks here. Mike Evans, coming in to torture the whole secondary of the Bears, and at least for right now, shutting down all those. He gonna get traded? Will he be traded? That kind of thing. And how they sort of just do old receivers. But yeah, no, Baker Mayfield got this whole got the offense on schedule and par, and he looks really good. He looks healthy as well too, and it not like how he tried to come out with the Panthers last year and be like on like a revenge tour kind of thing. He actually looks like he's in command of the team in a way that we thought of Baker Mayfield back in the day. Defense is still pretty good, even though they lost. I was like, they got lost a couple pieces that little. I was like a little older, but I was like, doesn't matter. I was like, they still look pretty good. The Bears, their defense still isn't there. The secondary, I was like really sort of like got like ate up quite a bit. I was like the offense. You see the potential there. Some of it I think is. I was like, it doesn't seem like they're getting. It seemed like they should be getting easier ways for more to get the ball, and Claypool at the same time too. Because Claypool, I like he's 6'4", but he's not that type of like a big receiver like in that way. But they should be getting him a lot more screens and stuff like that. I think of, but they're not. I feel like Fields is sort of in his head too much on a lot of things. Where I feel like he's not throwing with anticipation, and I think sometimes he's in it, and also he's in his own head of I run the ball too much. I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna throw. I'm not throwing the ball. I need to throw it. I need to throw it deep. And sometimes and he still is sort of making mistakes. That's like I don't. I was like he had 2 interceptions, and they're really not. Both of them, I don't really think. One of them was a tip screen, and well, not a tip screen, but I was like, it was a screen that was intercepted, and the other one was just a late game interception. But he still's getting the turnover, then that's all that anybody gonna look at anyway. So that still's a problem. But also too, I feel like it's also a work in progress. I was like he's taking too many sacks as well too. Like don't get me wrong, the offensive line is giving up too many sacks, but he's taking too many sacks as well. But he could do a lot better job on there as well. The Bengals and the Ravens. I don't know what's going on necessarily with the Bengals, but they at least turned it on, especially from like the second quarter on. They turned it on of playing because I was like at first they was just like it was a repeat of last week where they were playing like doo doo water. Um, I think the defense really sort of missed having Bell and Bates, to be honest, and even Apple to an extent too. I was like the defense is sort of is I don't know. It just seems like it's not right now. And neither is the offense. I was like their whole team just ain't. It's like when I was like they clicked and they when they finally did get it going, but I was like it just seemed like it took so long for it to get there. The Ravens, I was like I think they finally started showing the potential of their offense. I was like they were like 5 receivers deep. I was like, and so you start sort of seeing it like Zay Flowers really special. Odell, so they sort of working him in there. Aguilar got a lot of huge touches. You see the potential there on offense, and the defense is always good. There's not really even they have injuries, but they can always keep it status quo. I was like, I was like, didn't even say I was like the Buccaneers beat the Bears. So I was like because of those I was like man the turnover and the Ravens outlasted the Bengals and they tried to put on that hot run. The Titans and the Chargers. I was like Tannehill decided to go back to a couple years ago when they were like the number one seed Titans. He was out. I was like he was actually running the ball, which I mean I feel like it's crazy considering that he used to play wide receiver in college and he doesn't hardly ever run the ball. It's really crazy. But I was like, he came out and showed out, and he was actually slinging the ball. DeAndre Hopkins has sort of been like a real godsend to him, and it seemed like it made everybody else of the receiving core a lot better as well too. I was like, the Chargers. I was like, the offense is always good, the defense is always good, and the Chargers always charge. They always do something where it's just like oh, they should win the game. Are they going to win the game? No, they do something dumb. They do it's just something that happens, and they just lose the game. And that's pretty much what happened here again. They had a chance to win, and they pretty much I was like it was a flag, and then after that they couldn't piece nothing together, and they pretty much it was just pretty much a run and over, and we'll see how long that goes. Texans Colts. It sucked that Richardson got hurt because I feel like he was gonna have one of them like like stats games where you look at it and you be like man he went crazy, but then you realize he sort of playing the Texas, so you gotta take it with a little grain of salt. He was already like running the ball all over the place, which I mean so far from last week with the knee injury and then this week with a concussion. Maybe they're already running them too much here, but I was like also too they don't have like crazy weapons either that you also use. But I was like, you sort of get a pass playing against the Texans. Stroud, I was like, the offense still seems like they're trying to put together some stuff. I think it's just going to be a rough season for Stroud. I was like, he showed a lot. I was like, he's still getting in the pocket. The line pretty much is not helping him out. I was like, he doesn't have like the receivers are all young and stuff like that too. So it is going to be a rough year for them in general. But you can see like he at least is staying there. He willing to get. I mean, unfortunately, he's willing to get hit in order to make the passes and stuff like that. So I think it's just gonna be a long, rough season. Yeah, and I was like the Colts. I was like if Richardson could stay healthy, they at least got a chance in the game because I was like they got at least enough with him being that like you could see the specialness in him of. But it sort of looks like this offense almost like it's like the Cam Newton Panthers offense where it's gonna be all him or nothing pretty much, especially until Taylor comes back, able to be healthy and stuff. Lions Seahawks was pretty much a shootout. I was like, it started off, I was like, it one of them games that started off slow, and then all of a sudden, that thing, it was just back to being ridiculous towards the end. I was like, they lived up to I guess their last couple performances where they pretty much be putting up 40 points. They almost put that up here each. It was back and forth. I was like, Gino showed us that he's still writing them letters that nobody ain't write back from or whatever. He's living that last sad lonely life. I was like Jared Goff was also good in this game too, and it just really just I was like you just ran out of time pretty much. Otherwise I was like the Lions might have actually had a chance here. I was like the defenses did enough. They both like don't bend, don't break. I mean bend, don't break type of defenses in this game. It was really just an offensive fest, and they were really just going back and forth. Lockett, Metcalf on the offensive side. I was like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, the receivers other than St. Brown, I don't really know for the Lions yet. They're still so young. I was like, and they replaced Hawkins, so they got a whole bunch of new receivers and a running back. But their offense is crisp. I was like, Jared Goff is looking like the guy that when he went to the Super Bowl type of thing. Except for I feel like he's a lot better at his processing than just, how they used to just give it as a Gurley and just win that way. Chiefs and Jaguars. Talk about a game where we're just like, by God, do anybody want to score? That's how it felt here. It really was just it was a defensive game. I'll give them that. To teams, I was like, we know the Jaguar got a pretty decent defense. the Chiefs, they're up and down, but Chris Jones came back and they pretty much played like that type of defense. The Jaguars really couldn't get like really going with all their receivers and stuff like that. Like I was like they missed a couple chances here, but more so about the Chiefs is that Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. Whatever I was like, Pacheco is over here running the ball is pretty good too. The receiving core just kind of like if it ain't Kelsey, I don't really know. I don't like you're not really getting nothing. And it's just week 2, but it's already sort of at the point where it just seems like something needs to give, something needs to happen, and it's almost it's like it's the reason because they don't have their coordinator. I was like that's gonna be another thing for another day. But I was like the Jaguars was able to. I was like the Jaguars didn't have enough to really put the play against the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs wasn't really generating offense. Chiefs got this one. So I was like the Seahawks won the last game. I'm just going so fast I don't even remember who it is. Another great game. Packers and Falcons. I was like, I feel like we all knew that the Packers defense was good. They came on really strong last year. I was like, but I did not know or think how well the Atlanta defense would be. Terrell was pretty much shutting down and taking out any attempts that they was really having. Even though Jordan Love had a really good game, they didn't. I was like, they didn't. I was like, it was pretty much Dillon here, so they didn't have like Jones. But I was like, Love was pretty much he was still showing that he's on the way of being like, yeah, no, we got our quarterback, we're good. It's really more of Ritter on Atlanta. I feel like he came and he showed out. He was carrying the ball with the team with Bijan, and I was like, I feel like Bijan just being a human joystick all over the place. Like they got between him and Aguilar of like the tough run nose running back, and then the human highlight reel that Bijan is going to be. Drake London also showed out in this game too. I was like, they still got to find a way to really get Pitts more involved here, because I was like, once they do that, I feel like the offense really unlocks in general. But Ritter really came out and showed he was able to have them come back when it seemed like they wasn't going to be able to, and I was like, well, of course it's comeback. And Younghoe Koo out here giving all the people a sense that anybody can play this game. I was like, if you know, you know. I was like, Falcon came back, won the game from the Packers. The Cardinals and Giants, wild game, because it was about to look like, man, those Giants look like flukes from last year. The Cardinals came out hot. Dobbs was over here using all of his brilliance instead of like engineering things and building like rockets, I guess, and whatnot. He was out here building a lead because that's what he was doing. I was like, he was pretty much taking a sorry Cardinal team down the field like several times and just getting touchdown constantly. And you was like, man, what's going on with these Giants? Nothing. That's pretty much. And then out of nowhere, in that second half, it's like they just started being like, hey, you remember Daniel Jones? He could run, and they just started running all over. And then once he started running, that just opened up the whole thing. I was like, Hodges got in there. I was like, Barkley, even though he got hurt, I was like, he was over here. I was like, I can't remember their rookie receiver. I was like, but their offense just changed. I was like, their defense actually started stopping people because they were just getting ran through. I mean, like Dobbs was over here trucking dudes to the goal line for the most part. But the Giants pulled off a crazy victory to come back and beat the Cardinals. Rams, 49ers, just from the Rams perspective, Stafford looks all well and good. I was like, the offense without Kupp looks like they're on point. I was like, Tutu's over here, his skinny self getting down the field. Achuya is over here looking like what we thought would. He's almost taking on like Kupp's role in a way where it just seems like he is around to catch the ball all the time. So I was like, I was like, I don't know how good they're going to be on the season, but I was like, Stafford's going to keep them in the game. And I was like, their defense is okay and good enough If they can score points, they'll be fine. But on the other side, the 49ers are going to be a monster. Because Purdy, they could have blew him out. Because Purdy missed a couple deep shots that he had on them at least about 2 or 3 times where he could have ended up at least like got him back down the field or at least scored a touchdown. Ayuk was going crazy. I was like, I don't know. I was like, he got hurt. It didn't matter. He was still in the game. They got Debo still around, and McCaffrey can't be stopped. I don't know what you do with this offense. I didn't even talk about Kittle. I was like, McCaffrey was playing like a Madden character. And I was like, their defense is just swarming the ball constantly. If Purdy plays like that, even that, and that was I was like, it was a good game by Purdy, not his best game, and they still was over here just slinging the ball around, having no problems. Granted, I was like, it's the Rams, and their defense is not there, but in the same way as it used to be, but still. Jets and the Cowboys started out slow, started out where you thought the Jets might have a chance, and then after that, nope. The Cowboys pretty much just, for a team that can't run the ball really right now, does not matter because the running backs are either good enough in the screen game or they're, with McDowell and Turbin being really fast. But the receivers, like Lamb is a beast because he made like 3 catches that I'm like, that's a #1 receiver. That's some 88 stuff right there. I was like, he is on, like last year there were sort of questions, especially when it was just him and nobody else around him. But this year, no, it seemed like he unlocked the achievement that you needed in order to become #1 player. I mean, well, the #1 receiver, and that's what he done. Yeah, I was like, McCarthy taking over the play calling so far looks like that was a really smart play. And they run the ball when needed. I was like, Dak knows. I was like, also he's running a lot better and more. That like he can run, but he just sometimes wouldn't. But I think now it's so far he seems like, okay, I'm running, bump that, and I'm down with that. And the defense is all over the ball. Like I said, their speed, like Wilson. I was like, the thing is, if you're going to be babying with Wilson, you're not going to really have too much of a shot. I know you don't have Rodgers, and that makes a difference, but especially against somebody like the defense on with Dallas, they got like 4 or 5 pass rushers. You can't do that. There was no chance in this game. Dallas won. Dallas win and take this game. Commanders and Broncos. Also another fun game. Russell Wilson looked like Russell Wilson. I was like, he had the deep ball going to Marvin Sims Jr. On like several plays. I was like, over here got the Hail Mary to Anthony Johnson. I was like, he had 2 touchdowns for that. I was like they was on point for like the first half, and then after that, the Commanders came in. I was like, they defense pretty much came out here ready with Payne and Sweat and Young and was shutting all that down. I was like, Mosley getting an interception. I was like, and Hal, I was like, I thought he'd be good. I didn't think, I was like, essentially this is sort of his rookie year. But whatever him and with Bieniemy and they got going, I like the fact that he sort of just throws the ball before, like, he's anticipating the throw. Like the one he threw to McLaurin where he just like, he mossed the dudes. That was crazy. Cause I was like, that was one of them where I had to rewind it a couple times because I was like, that's crazy. And Hal is really giving them that like a chance. He's reckless like Heineke was in a way, but he's a little bit more poised at the same time, and at least he's making a right throw at the same time. But he gives you that feeling that you like, I'm not out of this game like Heineke sort of did. But the Commanders came back to win, even though the Broncos also came back, but they didn't get a 2-point conversion, so they lose at the same time. Commanders. Dolphins, Patriots. I was like, they 0-2, but Bill Belichick, I swear to God, he always knows how to stop somebody. Because I was like, our offense, it was still good too, because 2 is really good, but it wasn't the explosiveness that we normally play with. I was like, they kept Hill pretty much contained. But with that, I was like, we still got too many people between Craycraft and you got Waddle, Smite. I was like, we got more of our running game, which has always been sort of my point, and it's been a little bit lacking going in this one. I was like, but Tua just dropped it down. He dropped one to Barrios that I was like, it for another week to another small receiver. Somehow Tua puts it right in the breadbasket. Where like, how did he catch that? We ain't got no big receiver. How did he catch that? And that's that. I was like, that's where everybody want to make the accuracy comparison with him and Breeze. That's the one where I'm like, that's ridiculous. He put that right in the breadbasket. But I was like, our defense. I was like, even though I was like, New England, they come back in the second half. They always do, or whatever. You got two former Dolphins with Gesicki and Parker, but I was like, our defense, our line. I was like, the speed of everybody is just too much to overcome, or whatever. And it seemed like that we're another bend that don't break, and then in the second half, especially when you need it, almost like that speed just kills and you can't do nothing about it at that point. Dolphins win that game. Our Monday night games, I was like Saints and Panthers. I was like, another slow burn here. I was like, wasn't really nothing going on. They would really traded field goals or nothing like that. I was like, they lost their running back, so it was just Taysom Hill running the ball. I was like, Carr at first was just like the defense for the Panthers is really good, and they're going to have to be while they got Young out here pretty much. And the Young, he didn't play bad. They're just not enough onto the offense enough to. He's very methodical. Like he's making a lot of the right plays or whatnot, and then sometimes you could just tell you could just tell like it's just not like him and the receiver still gotta get it. Like Chark just came back. Thielen's like his sort of go-to right now. Mingo's new here, but I was like, but the offense be fine. Like once they just get a couple more things going. I mean, like a couple more weeks, underneath their belt and Young. But I was like, I thought Young did pretty. I thought he did really well of knowing when like the move and the run. I was like there was nobody open. He just immediately just took off for like 20 yards down the field, and I was like, I think that's like good because he also, because in my head, I was like, he keep on running, but I also remember too that I'm like, he's like 5'10", 190. You go ahead, slide. That's good job, smart thinking. You need here for the long haul. But I was like, I thought he did a whole bunch. He did a lot better of not doing like dumb like play that's like, oh, that's gonna be like necessarily interception because he caused it. I was like, but Thielen right now is like sort of his best buddy. I was like, they know what get into like the pockets and like the windows and stuff like that. But they haven't hit on nothing like Chark on like a big play or nothing like that. They haven't done that part just yet. So they're just going in there. But I was like, they started picking up later on. But he also playing against a pretty good defense too. So I'm not, I was like, they got Warner there, they got Johnson. So he was still sort of getting ate up a bit. And I was like, their run game just hadn't also helped them out on Carolina as much either. And Carr, I was like, he eventually started picking up. I was like, Olave was really sort of the dude that sort of broke open really here. They tried to get Thomas a couple times, but they just couldn't get him pretty much open. But yeah, the Saints take this game pretty much. And then Brown Steelers, a really fun game. One side was really defense more so than the other. The defense really wanted for the Steelers. It without that, it wouldn't even be in that close of a game. I was like, Pickens I was like being a monster. I was like, he pretty much single handedly was pretty much keeping the Pittsburgh Steelers like offense going. I was like, they couldn't run the ball worth nothing for a while. I was like, they were doing really well in the screen game with Warren and stuff, but I was like, but it was really just Pickens for the whole offense. I was like, T.J. Watt got a return fumble and was able to take it back to the house. I was like, Pickett threw a couple of interceptions as well too. They sort of traded back because I was like, Watson threw an interception. That wasn't really his fault all the way, but they took that one. Then I was like, Pickens gave it like right back not too long later on an interception as well. But the defense for Pittsburgh was really like they did a really good job, and but the offense really just didn't give them enough, I guess, or I was like, they was really to turn over the ball pretty much all down. Cooper really came to play, but it like that was really it. After Chubb went down, and you sort of seen that you would think they would be single handed, but they Ford kept them in the game, but they just hurt themselves with turnover, and it's like that's how it's sort of been in the last few these Monday night games. Well, Monday night, Thursday night games, it's just been turnover that's been killing the team when they should have won this by like 3 touchdowns, and they just couldn't. But with Njoku giving up the ball, I was like they just sort of, I was like, and Watson was just getting ate up in sacks and stuff like that too. They couldn't stop him. But the Steelers took this game. Nick Chubb is gone for the year now too. I was like, oh, we'll see. They put a call in Kareem Hunt. But anyway, those are all the slates of week 2. And I was like, I wish if this was week 1, I was like, this was a really fun weekend. I was like, there was really only like a couple dub, but other than that, they were all pretty much games that were just ready to go, or they build up and they was able to hit it and start running. But anyway, that was my recap. Try to do it really in 10 minutes, and I failed highly in that one. But anyway, if you liked any part of the video or how long you stayed, I appreciate it. Thanks. But until then, hey, maybe if you didn't like it, maybe next time. But until then, week 2 is out the books. Goodbye.